Greetings, Ronin! FiOth here. I hope some of you are of the Neo Crown. I want to welcome you back. And today I will be giving you the best settings, according to my humble opinion, of course, in order to make your game look the best, run the best, alongside some tips to make your gameplay smoother, because starting settings on certain cases in this game are not what I would call ideal. So we'll start with the graphical settings. You can see the image here is super crisp. Then we'll move into sound and then some gameplay relating toggles that will make your life easier. Let's get to it. So for the visuals here, 100% go prioritize FPS. Because the video will be rendered at 60 frames, you will not be able to perceive if I change something here. What I can tell you is that the prioritized graphics tanks the frame rate, and the prioritized ray tracing totally destroys the frame rate and the game is unplayable. So prioritize frame rate, it's a Team Ninja game. They never were the biggest lookers. We want to make the gameplay as smooth as possible, so we're gonna go frame rate. In case of most games that are not graphical powerhouses on the PlayStation 5, there are certain things that are pretty much staples. So motion blur is off, depth of field is off, chromatic aberrations and acquired taste won't change too much up, but I tend to leave it on. Vignetting is nice because it gives you this enclosing effect with very imperceivable black borders around the screen, especially when you're stealthing, so this is good. I'm gonna leave it on. And noise filter 100% goes off. It's like film grain, and in most cases film grain is poo-poo. In case of this game where the graphics are already not its strongest point, having noise filter on is a disaster. Leave it off 100%. Now, of course, here I have deactivated all the music and dampened most of the sound effects, so you will be able to hear me, but I would suggest you come into this menu, put the music a bit lower than the voices and the sound effects, and 100% if you are using a headset with 3D sound activated, activate 3D audio effects here, because for some reason when you come into the game this is not on 3D audio effects. If you're gonna make full use of what the PlayStation 5 has to offer sound wise, 3D audio effects would have to be on. Also, the dynamic range should be wide. If you have a good headset, put this to wide and you'll have the best possible experience. I don't understand why they start on a different setting here, but it is what it is and we're gonna fix it for you. Now for the camera, I would recommend you go and place it on A, horizontal and vertical. This is because when you are fighting, when there is a lot of action and you need to readjust to be able to see the enemy, a sluggish camera is gonna cause issues, it's gonna get you killed. If you take it all the way to 10, it rotates extremely fast. I don't think it's very manageable, but a nice 8 will keep it fast enough without compromising your ability to relocate the enemy and fight them. Also, do not confuse this with the horizontal and vertical aiming speed. If you put this on 8, it will be nigh impossible to aim bows and muskets. If you usually play southpaw and are used to aiming with the left stick, taking this further than 5 is gonna make it nigh impossible to aim whatsoever, trust me. So 5 or even 4 here would be good, and we're gonna make that 5 work with a very easy toggle right now. I'm gonna go into controls. In control assist, and you're gonna use aim assist. This will make sure that your musket and bow prioritizes the weak point of the enemy you're aiming at. It will not be aimbot, but you'll feel this little tag towards the head of the assailant. It will make it that much easier to score some headshots, especially in the thick of combat when the enemy is not able to block. So put this on aim assist and it will make your life that much easier. Probably the most important life-saving quality of life thing that they integrated into this game is auto-collect items. My god, why is this not in every single game out there? What it does is that you don't even need to click anything, no animation needs to take place if you're in the thick of the action. If you're on your horse, you don't have to stop. as soon as you are close to a collectible, loot that dropped from enemies, natural resources, rocks, plants, you name it, the protagonist will just get them into their inventory in the blink of an eye. You don't have to touch the X button or cross button as it's actually named. Everything will just go into your inventory as soon as you approach them. Will make your enjoyment of this 100 hours game that much easier. The simplest things usually make a difference, and this is by far the best quality of life option that this game has to offer. Also, don't forget to toggle auto grab and auto crouch on, because you don't want to have to click a button every time you're in front of a ladder or are trying to crouch to get through a small opening. This will make sure that even if you are running, you will perform a slide and you don't have to stop, making traversal much smoother. Now, if you're using any third-party controller, make sure you take adaptive triggers off. This will confuse your controller when you try to apply incremental pressure. If you're using a Razer or a Victrix, just take it off. If you're using an official PlayStation controller, leave it on, and of course activate vibration as well. I have it off because I'm using a vibrationless controller, but this is up to personal preference. Now, in game settings, something I would suggest, especially if you come from Neo, is activate the gauges. Enemy gauges, your own gauges, ally gauges, damage to enemies, damage to self. All those should be on so you have situational awareness when you are fighting. You'll know how much ki you have, how much ki the enemy has, how much ki your ally has, and that goes for your health as well. Very, very important, especially if you play Twilight as I am, because it will ensure that you know what is actually happening instead of just mashing buttons and hoping for the best. Another very important pick to toggle to on is the critical hit assassination button. You want this so you will always get a prompt when you can assassinate an enemy. As soon as you are close to them, this will provide the prompt on your screen that you can assassinate, and you'll be ready to go. You just click triangle and they will be in a world of hurt. Also, whilst we're here, if you want to see your character's face again after the character creation screen, at the very bottom of game settings we have show headgear and also show sheathed weapon. So if you want, you can take your weapons off of your model when you're not fighting, and then when they're drawn they will appear normally. Back to camera, I would suggest you come into the camera distance toggle and take it all the way to 4. This will ensure the camera stays as far away from your character as possible, and this will help you dramatically when you are fighting and want to keep all the enemies as visible as possible in the frame that the game presents. It will always zoom in to an extent. You will always have this close-up cinematic fighting take when combat ensues, but for traversal and when you initially get into an engagement, this will help you get your bearings 100%. Last but not least, on the controls, go to lock on and click automatic lock on to on, auto lock on with counter sparks, and automatic lock on after defeating an enemy. Automatic lock on means that as soon as you attack an enemy, they will come into focus and you will be able to keep them in your line of sight. Auto lock on with counter sparks means that when you engage in counter sparks, even if the enemy presses the attack and continues the combo, that enemy that you are counter sparking, I suppose, will be prioritized, so you will be able to keep an eye on them and optimize your counter sparks. And automatic lock on after defeating enemy, when an enemy dies, the camera will refocus the next available enemy, so you will be able to press the attack. So this is it, Ronin, my suggested settings. I hope they help you enjoy it more. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. As with Wulong and the Neo series, I will be covering everything in Rise of the Ronin. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always travel perfection. Cheers!